Hi guys, welcome to Nursing 101 podcast where I'll be talking about a couple bacterias, the symptoms that they cause, etc. Let's get started. Have you ever roamed the halls of a hospital and randomly heard the word E. coli? Probably not. Maybe if you were near like a lab tech or something, which most likely wouldn't happen. It just came up to mind. Anyways, E. coli is just the short term, okay? The actual term is Escherichia coli. Now, the prefix coli refers to the colon because it is found in the colon. E. coli is found in the colon. E. coli is a group of bacteria that causes infection in your gut, GI tract, urinary tract, and other parts of your body. You may be exposed to E. coli from contaminated water or food, especially raw vegetables and undercooked ground beef or chicken. So make sure when you're cooking ground beef or chicken, make sure it's well cooked because you never know, E. coli may be chilling there on your chicken or your ground beef. Now, the infection usually begins 3 or 4 days after exposure to the bacteria, but you may become ill as soon as 1 day after exposure, more than a week later. Signs and symptoms include diarrhea, which may range from mild, watery to severe bloody. Now, if you ever see blood in your stool, you have to immediately go to the emergency room. Blood and stool is vital. Now, more symptoms include stomach cramping, pain or tenderness, nausea and vomiting in some people. So it's important to drink lots of fluids when being infected by this bacteria because diarrhea and vomiting can lead to dehydration due to loss of fluids. So keep in mind to drink lots of fluids if you're ever infected with this bacteria. You or anyone, any family member, anyone that you know. Moving forward. Now, has anyone ever wondered what is the name of that bacteria that causes your milk to spoil? Like, did that ever come to anybody's head? Like, what causes my milk to spoil? Like, why does milk spoil? Who does it? Well, you know who does it? The person who does it, the bacteria that does this is Micrococcus luteus. This bacteria can result in spoilage of milk. The prefix luteus, meaning or belonging to the yellow weed. So the color of this bacteria is typically more of a golden yellow. It's on the yellow side. Now, has anyone ever heard of Staphylococcus epidermis? This is a gram-positive bacterium. The prefix staphylo, meaning grape-like clusters, and the suffix coccus is based on its form or structure appearance under the microscope. Staphylococcus epidermis is a part of the normal human microbiota, typically the skin microbiota. However, Staphylococcus epidermis is a common symbiont bacterium that can be infectious once inside the human host. Now, ever heard of Bacillus cereus? Not Bacillus cereal, Bacillus cereus. Now, Bacillus cereus is a gram-positive rod-shaped bacterium, typically found in soil, food, and marine sponges. The name cereus, it's a Latin word for waxy. It refers to the appearance of colonies grown on the blood agar. Some strains are harmful to human and can cause foodborne illnesses due to their spore-forming nature, while other strains can be beneficial as probiotics for animals and even exhibit mutualism with certain plants. Now, have you ever heard of Bacillus subtilis? It kind of rhymes, but that's what it is. Bacillus subtilis is a gram-positive bacterium, rod-shaped, catalase positive. Subtilis being the Latin for fine, thin, slender. Some species are a part of the normal flora. This can be found in organic matter, dust, vegetable, and water. Now, does anyone know what TSA is? Not TSA, Transportation Security Administration. not the TSA when you travel, but the TSA, tryptic soy agar plate. So TSA is a general purpose culture medium for cultivation, isolation, fastidious or non-fastidious microorganisms, or maintenance of stock culture. Now, we also have TSB, tryptic soy broth. This is a general purpose liquid enrichment medium used in qualitative procedures for the sterility test for the enrichment and cultivation of aerobic microorganisms that are not excessively fastidious. What is broad spectrum antimicrobial drug? Now, when you go to the pharmacy, you're not like, hey, can I get my broad spectrum antimicrobial drug ASAP? No. So this is a class of antibiotics that act against extensive range of disease causing bacteria by targeting both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria groups. A great example is amoxicillin. That is an antibiotic that people get. Now I'm going to challenge all CNAs who have roamed the hallways. Have you ever heard of C. diff? Now, even if you've been in a nursing home, there's certain rooms that you have to be very cautious because the patient has C. diff. Now, some people are like, what is C. diff? If they were to see that, they probably don't really understand what it means. Now, I'm going to explain what C. diff is. C. diff is just a short term. This term is known as Clostridium difficile. This is C. diff. This bacteria is a germ. It's a bacterium that causes inflammation of the colon. Now, what is the name for that term of inflammation of the colon? It's colitis. So you're more likely to get C. diff infection if you take antibiotics for more than a week. Now, you can spread this germ when people touch food, surfaces, or objects that are contaminated with feces from a person who has C. diff. Okay, so it's got to be very careful. We all have to wash our hands very well. Moving forward, has anyone ever heard of nasopharynx? You're probably like, what is that? Nasopharynx is the top part of your throat. It's a muscular box-shaped passageway behind your nose, just above the roof of your mouth. Your nasopharynx allows air to pass from your nose into your windpipe and eventually into your lungs. So that was a fun fact, in case you didn't know. Earlier I mentioned this term symbiosis. The meaning of symbiosis is interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. Okay. Has anyone ever heard of peptidoglycan? So prefix peptide is a short chain of amino acids, typically 2 to 50, linked by chemical bonds. Glycan, suffix meaning sugar. So peptidoglycan is a rigid envelope surrounding the cytoplasmic membrane of most bacterial species. So it helps protect bacterial cells from environmental stress and helps preserve cell morphology throughout their life cycle. Has anyone ever heard of a prokaryote? Prokaryotes are organisms whose cells lack a nucleus and other organelles. Now, pro meaning before, karyon, nut, referring to the cell nucleus, suffix is the oats part. But has anyone ever heard of binary fission? Or my apologies, binary fission, a type of asexual reproduction typically observed in prokaryotes and few single-celled eukaryotes. In method of asexual reproduction, there is a separation of the parent cell into two new daughter cells. Now I'll just be pronouncing a couple words. Salmonella enterica, which is found in the intestines. Streptococcus pyogenes, the appearance of cells in chains, and it forms pus. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, fungus that uses sugar. It makes beer. If you didn't know that, for all you beer drinkers. Penicillium chrysogenum, the appearance is microscopically, produces a yellow pigment, crystal yellow pigment. Trypanosoma cruzi, it's a protozoan. Bacteroides, the Thytomicron. Now that was the last of pronunciation of words, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Nursing 101 with pronouncing words, word pronunciation, and learning a little bit more about the bacteria, what it does, what symptoms it causes, etc. And I hope to get back to you guys with more bacteria. Thank you for listening to my podcast, and I hope you guys have a great week.